Good morning. Welcome to the Tuckahoe Public Library. I'm Elaine Provenzano. I'm the Adult Reference Librarian. And on behalf of Swadesh Paknanda and the Friends of the Tuckahoe Library, I want to welcome you to the Memoir Gathering. And this is such a wonderful program. And so that you can all be here. If you haven't been here before, you're going to be in for a wonderful treat. And this is in its 8th year. It began in 2007. And without further ado, I'm going to ask Edith Glass to come up and introduce the group.
I'm not being fresh. Okay, thank you for joining us today. Today we are joined by members of the Tuckahoe Library. The Tuckahoe group began in 2007. We meet monthly to share newly recorded snapshots of people and events in our lives. The meetings are conducted in a non-critical manner. This nurturing, supportive environment has allowed our group to become a new family. All of us now live in Westchester. However, some of us were born in the United States and others have come to live here from other countries. Today, more Americans are considering the legacies they want to leave their descendants, including their personal histories. We all realize that if our life experiences are not recorded for our descendants, they will be lost forever. We hope that after you hear our memoirs, you will begin to write your own. And please stay for the reception after the program. I'll begin first. Addicted. Some people are addicted to drugs, alcohol, or their handheld telephone. I am addicted to television. My addiction to television started in 1953 when I was 18 years old and went away to college. Because I was admitted to college in August, I wasn't able to live in the dorm at the State Teachers College in Plattsburgh, New York. My mother found a lovely bedroom for me with a nice family. They had a television set and would often ask me if I wanted to watch an evening show with them. I jumped at each opportunity, and so began my addiction. The television seemed to have the ability to cast a spell upon me. I didn't care what kind of program was on. My favorites were comedy, especially Sid Caesar. I loved any kind of Western, and my favorites were Gene Autry and Roy Rogers, Westerns where the good guy always wins. Imagine my surprise when I came home for Christmas vacation, and there in our living room was a large mahogany cabinet, and inside the cabinet was a 24-inch television. On top of the television cabinet stood the antenna, sometimes called rabbit ears. We had an inside apartment, so one would have to turn the rabbit ears in several directions in order to get the sharpest picture reception as possible. This could be really a frustrating experience. At first, there were only 5 television stations, and television techniques got better and more stations were added. Eventually, one could watch programs in color. I advanced to watching musicals as well as cultural programs on public broadcasting stations and Bravo. I didn't watch news programs as I had no interest in politics at this time. I never watched sports programs. When I married, Grandpa was a resident at Brooklyn Jewish Hospital. He had a schedule where he would be on call one night and off the next. Therefore, some nights I was lonely. The television kept me company. It was another voice in the house. Later, when I was teaching, taking care of 3 children, and keeping a large house clean and tidy, the television allowed me to relax so that I could get a good night's sleep. Fortunately, Grandpa and I enjoyed the same programs. Today, there are many television stations. I became a news program addict, but soon this novelty disappeared. I cannot bear to hear the news commentators rant, blame, and criticize President Obama when no one in the Republican Party wants to work with him or allow him to have any success. I only watch the 6:30 to 7 news program on Channel 4. I have gone back to my initial delights when I was 18. I now watch any musical, drama, or Western film on television. Who wouldn't enjoy watching Robin Hood with Errol Flynn over and over? How could one forget the magnificence of the film This Land Is Mine with Charles Lawton? How about An American in Paris with Gene Kelly, or Anchors Away with a very young Frank Sinatra who couldn't dance and who Gene Kelly, being a born dance teacher, taught him how in 6 weeks? If someday I may be bedridden, I'll find some comfort as long as I have my television. Watching it will bring back wonderful memories of my life, as well as keep me in contact to the world I live in. Thank you. Let's see, we'll take Carol next. We'll go that way, and we'll go that way.
And here, take your. My name is Carol Michaels, and I was born in New York City. I was born in New York City, and I now live up here. And my memoir is entitled Toscanini in Turquoise. Romeo was a music lover. This adorable blue-green parakeet, with whom I shared my childhood bedroom, found endless ways to entertain himself. He sparred with his roly-poly in the bottom of his cage, and daily had extended, animated conversations with his mirror. He would tap out a tattoo of Morse code on my front teeth while sitting astride my hand. Acrobatics helped keep this Renaissance bird in top form, ensuring his pursuit of his many hobbies and pastimes. But his passion was music. The cage that we'd purchased for him had been furnished with the usual set of upper and lower perches, a swing, and a ladder. But what had first attracted me to this abode, when we went on the occasion of my 9th birthday to Macy's to select both bird and birdhouse, was the additional feature of a lamppost-like fixture that was adorned with a golden bell in lieu of a light. It resided in the middle of the topmost perch, and Romeo, seeming to enjoy its trill, would peck at it each time he passed by. Seeing that he was apparently so taken with this metal music-making mobile, I soon brought home others that I attached with wire hooks throughout his little chrome house. After a while, as these additional bells were affixed to the various rungs of his home, and the collection grew in number, so too did Romeo's interest in and aptitude for maximizing the creative use of this private cache of musical instruments. He became both composer and conductor of his own tuneful creations. Up and down, left and right, he would race about, setting each one in motion in a manner and sequence that seemed to suit whatever opus he had in his mind, until all would ring out their respective roles in this bird-bred symphony of his own design and implementation. At this point, Romeo would pause halfway up the ladder to listen carefully to what he had wrought, with an air of satisfaction and a blissful mien of a true aficionado. But he was rigorous as well as appreciative of his music, and possessing the critical ear of a talented orchestra maestro, he would abandon his resting place on that ladder and diligently wield his beak-turned baton with a vigorously resounding thwack whenever any recalcitrant bell had the temerity to return to its silent resting place. Romeo was blessed with many talents, and he gifted us with many hours of entertainment and affection. And after all these years, I can still recall the tinkling melody that was wrought by our very own Toscanini in turquoise.
Good morning. Here we are again. Isn't that wonderful? My name is Gilda DiMeo. Forgot myself. My name is Gilda DiMeo, and I was born in Brooklyn, New York. That wonderful place not too many people know about. Where the magnificent 100-year-old, I believe, Brooklyn Bridge stands, straight and tall. That's such a magnificent edifice. Anyway, let me continue. My memoir is called On a Mission of Love. My memory of this Saturday in March of 1948 is very clear, and I hold it close to my heart. This was the day my mother and I chose to shop for my wedding gown. The sun shone beautifully, as if to bless our day. We began our quest at Martin's, Mom's favorite department store on Livingston Street in downtown Brooklyn. A store similar to Lord & Taylor in Manhattan, featuring quality clothes. We traveled by subway, and it was a truly exciting day for us. Having no success at Martin's, we traveled to Midtown Manhattan. Mom's search for quality was our quest. Her motto was always to purchase one item of quality opposed to two inferior pieces. Mom was a very organized person. She had separate envelopes for all bills. On this day, Mom carried one marked Gilda's wedding gown. Let me preface my story by telling you that Mom was in an orphanage in Peekskill, New York, from the age of 4 through 12. Her two younger brothers were with her at St. Joseph's Orphanage, which has since succumbed to condos, and that's another story to be told. We took the subway to Midtown Manhattan to the stores along Fifth Avenue, namely Lord & Taylor, Franklin Simon, Altman's, Saks, and Bergdorf Goodman. I don't know, not too many of them are left. This was a daunting trip. We started at Lord & Taylor and worked our way uptown. There was always a special person in bridal wear, very accommodating and knowledgeable. Working our way uptown was a tiring experience. I tried a few gowns of choice in each store. If one was to be considered, Mom would turn it inside out, checking workmanship. If it was considered, we would ask the salesperson to hold it a few hours with my name on it. By the time we left Saks and Altman's, I felt so disheveled, not in the least the fashionable young woman that started from home that morning. I wore my favorite strawberry-colored raglan sleeve coat, a gray cloche hat, and gray leather gloves. Mom wore her best black woolen coat, a pillbox hat, and a scarf. Mom always wore pearls and pearl earrings. To say the least, we were very tired, ladies, at this point. I decided to treat Mom to tea at the magnificent Plaza Hotel's Palm Court. We were in that area heading to Bergdorf Goodman. I had been there once with friends, and I knew that Mom would enjoy the ambiance. I straightened my cloche, and in we went. We were seated at a table for two, and the waiter was very attentive. Mom was impressed by the white gloves he was wearing, as well as the lovely chairs and furniture in this room. We decided on tea and scones with cream and fresh strawberries. It sounds good, right? It was just what we needed to lift our spirits. As I watched my mother smile and enjoy this experience, it gave me so much pleasure. My heart was full of love for this very hard-working woman. Next, a visit to the powder room to freshen up. It was beautifully appointed with a dressing table and soft upholstered chairs. There was an attendant standing by if help was needed. Very impressive. We were now feeling presentable once again and ventured out. Bergdorf Goodman, here we come. This was a truly beautiful store. I convinced Mom to stop at the perfume counter. The selection was always impressive. And I enjoyed seeing all the different shapes of bottles the colognes were in, besides the lovely scents that seemed to say, "Pick me." After a dab of this and that, we found ourselves in bridal wear. The salon reminded me of what we saw in the movies. I will always remember Olga, the very elegant and soft-spoken salesperson, as she greeted us. Mom and I were given seats in soft blue upholstered chairs. There was blue carpeting throughout. Olga looked me up and down and nodded a few times. I wondered if I had passed the test, whatever that was. Olga and an assistant carried out many lovely gowns to view and try on. I then tried on about 5, all different styles and fabrics. Nothing seemed to click. Olga then went inside and returned with an exquisite lace and satin gown. Her words were, "I believe this was made for you." As soon as I put it on, I thought so as well. The Chantilly lace was like gossamer. I felt like a princess waiting for my chariot. I also sent up a silent prayer that this dress would be affordable. The lace was a soft ivory color with ivory satin scrolls off the shoulder and all around the hem. A satin slip was underneath, and the pointed sleeves trimmed in satin as well. At that moment, I knew that all the walking and looking was not in vain. I think God smiled too, knowing how happy I was. I don't remember why, but I picked it up the following week. We had successfully accomplished our mission. Mom and I stopped to have coffee and then treated ourselves to a cab to 42nd Street for the subway home. We were looking forward to a dish of spaghetti aglio olio. That's spaghetti and oil, an old Italian favorite. My gown is now packed away as an heirloom. It was worn by my niece Jacqueline, and then my dearest Elizabeth, my daughter, and perhaps one of my granddaughters will choose to wear it. Another memoir can then unfold. Oh, they're not too clear. If anybody wants to see it, I'll show it.
It's lovely too.
I can't get this.
Good morning. Can you hear me? Good. Okay. My name is Eva Bartalos. I was born in Budapest, Hungary, and now I live in Bronxville. And I I'm a member of this Memoir Writing Club for about 5-6 years or so. The title of my story is We Are Going to America. I think I do need the glasses. It was August 1960. My husband and me, we were both from Hungary. We were studying at the time medicine and living for 2 years in Heidelberg, Germany. My husband, Michael, just finished his studies and received his diploma. He decided that we should go to America. Is it too loud? No. Okay. I was recovering from an illness and took care of my first baby, so for a while I could not attend the lectures. We were preparing for the trip of our lifetime. The World Federation of Reformed Churches sponsored us, that's another story, and bought our one-way airline tickets for us from Frankfurt, Germany to New York. We said goodbye to our student friends, Heidelberg, the castle, to the Neckar River where we used to swim. I went to the secretariat of the university and returned my study book explaining that we are leaving Heidelberg. When I got it back, there was a big stamp in it announcing to the world that I am not a student anymore. It was a tremendous loss to me to leave my studies behind. It was a very painful hour. We packed a new set of bed sheets given to us by the Red Cross and our medical books, diapers, and bottles for the baby. There was little else to pack. We were Hungarian refugees, left Hungary after the Hungarian Revolution in 1956. We had a couple Polish friends, Hubert and Hania Sieroslavski. They offered to take us to the airport in Frankfurt. Hubert said, Eva, if we would be 10 years younger, we would go with you to America. But we don't want to go. We will watch you, how you're doing there. Good luck to you. So we went, two young people, eager to learn, ready to take risks in a new, unknown world. We embarked on a voyage which was made first by Columbus on sea, and then by millions of others, and now by us. We flew aboard a very noisy old We flew aboard a very noisy old Second World War propeller plane. I had my 8-month-old son, Mike, in my left arm, and the German-English dictionary in my right arm. After all, I had to learn English as soon as possible. I was very proud to have learned 50 English words by the time we landed in New York. It was a very exciting day for us. We were ready to build a new life, a family, exploring this amazing country we heard so much about, which was admired by millions of people. We were taken to Grand Central Terminal in New York, and we were dazzled by the skyscrapers, thousands of people, and the new language. The only person who knew me in New York City was rushing toward us at the Grand Central Terminal with her violin case. She was my former violin teacher in Budapest when I was a child, Margaret Berend. We laughed and hugged, and then she said, "So good to see you. I have a present for you." And I opened the package and I said, surprised, "A bra? Why?" She said, "Now that you are in America, you have to wear a bra." Well, off the records, I don't remember whether in Germany at the time women wore or not. I didn't do research. I don't remember. I also got from her a bottle of eau de cologne. When little Michael, the baby, started to cry, Margaret promptly bought for him a bottle of Coca-Cola. He loved it and drank it practically in one gulp. First he became very cheerful and happy, but soon he became physically and mentally hyperactive. We parents watched this extreme euphoria helplessly while trying to make sense of this amazing day. Needless to say, we never gave him Coca-Cola again. We had to stay in New York for the first day and night. The plan was to take the train to Baltimore the following day, where the eager, I would say very eager, members of the Reformed Church were waiting for us. Now, that's another story. That first night, our American adventure started, which are now, in retrospect, sometimes sad, happy, and often hilarious. That first night, we took a room in the Chelsea Hotel in the city, where we requested a crib for Mike, the baby. Then we did something unimaginable. We left the baby there for the night without a babysitter on the 37th floor. I still cannot understand how could we do that. I just can't imagine. Michael, my husband, called a friend. They knew we were arriving, and we were right away invited to a Hungarian party that evening in New Jersey. They came by car, picked us up, and the car was speeding with us to New Jersey. And the baby's in the hotel, right, alone. We entered a large living room where about 20 Hungarian people were sitting, eating, and drinking. The host stood up and gave a speech. My dear wife, family, and old and new friends, join us in our celebration. Raise your glasses and let's drink for our 24th anniversary of us coming to this country. Later, a woman who sat next to me on the sofa turned to me and asked, "And you, when did you come to this country?" I said, "At 4:30. I glanced, well, yes, time flies, they say, indeed. Since then, 50 years passed. Tomorrow is August the 24th, 2010. This was written 5 years ago. Thank you. Now we're going to take this off.
Good morning. Can you hear me? No. No? You can't hear me?
No, you don't have to do anything. Just
Oh,
try.
just to, maybe it is. Oh, okay. My name is Elaine Pagaroli. Was born in Tuckahoe, lived here all my life very happily. And I'm in the memoir class for 6 years and loving it. It's wonderful. Okay, my memoir is Remembering America's Sweetheart. It was a cold, dreary morning in February 2014 when I heard the TV newscaster announce the passing of America's favorite child star, Shirley Temple, at the age of 85. Lovingly remembered, they showed a few clips of her old movies, and I was able to watch her dance with Bojangles and listen to her sing on the good ship Lollipop once again, as my heart lamented this loss of a very dear old friend and a truly sacred part of my childhood. Throughout the day, my friends of a certain age called to express their sorrow with tales of bygone remembrances and heartfelt gratitude for the gift of her endearing innocence and lovable charms and talents. We knew there was only one Shirley Temple, and we were lucky enough to be part of the era and generation that truly embraced her. In today's world, technology entertains our children and grandchildren in one way or another almost constantly. It is truly mind-boggling. But back in our childhood days, it was the magic of radio and motion pictures that held us spellbound. Located on downtown Main Street in Tuckahoe, site of Wells Fargo Bank today, was our beloved Lyric Movie Theater. Owned and operated by the Lenhart family, it was the source of tremendous joy to all who frequented its hallowed grounds. Lovingly called the Itch, we were lured onto its premises by the colorful posters of current and coming attractions adorning its outer and inner walls. We knew that for the ticket price of 10 cents and another nickel for a box of Good and Plenty from the candy machine in the lobby, we would be happily transported into another world via the magic of the silver screen. It was indeed thrilling. This is where I was introduced to Shirley Temple for the very first time and fell in love. During the Depression, this adorable child was able to lift our spirits and make us feel all is right with the world as nobody else could. She was beloved worldwide as well, and her captivating presence was everywhere, from paper dolls to lunch boxes, clothing apparel, and her famous Shirley Temple dolls. We just couldn't get enough of Shirley. We didn't just love her, we wanted to be like her. And I, for one, wanted her dimples and curls. Her dimples my mother could do nothing about, but the curls, that was another story. My mother would set my hair faithfully in all sorts of ways. Sometimes she used those metal curlers, remember them? Or else pin curls or strips of cloth. They were called banana curls, and on Shirley they were adorable. Unfortunately on me, they just looked like bananas, but still my mother kept trying. I also wanted to dance like her, so off to Jeannie B's dance studio I went, located first in her Crestwood home. Crestwood also being the locale of another famous Hollywood dance legend, Eleanor Powell. I must have been about 6 or 7 years old when I started dancing. Jeannie B eventually moved her studio into the building next to Cornell's hardware store on Lake Avenue in Tuckahoe. Located on the upper level, her dance studio was large and bright with lots of mirrors and handbars. I was completely mesmerized by Jeannie's colorful outfits and tap shoes and tried diligently to imitate her and Shirley. I spent many happy years tapping away, but the closest I ever got to stardom was the yearly dance recital and the wonderful programs put together by our music teacher, Miss Carroll, at our Main Street Grammar School. Such happy memories. I must admit I truly felt as lucky as Shirley during those years, except my picture never did appear in anybody's lunchbox. Of course, Shirley's movies continued to delight us, and my particular favorites are Heidi and the Little Princess. Always a loving presence who inspired us on screen and in real life, I suddenly realized we were kind of growing up together, and before you knew it, she was a beautiful teenager. We didn't have outlandish tabloids in those days, but we did have movie magazines such as Photoplay and Modern Screen, and we loved reading about her in all of them. Pretty and popular, Shirley soon married fellow actor John Agar in 1945 when she was 17. Unfortunately, the marriage ended in divorce, but they had a beautiful little daughter. In 1950, she married Naval Officer Charles Black, and they lived a long and happy life together with their loving family of 2 more children. It is at this time that Shirley decided to leave Hollywood and concentrate on family life. Beautiful throughout her lifetime, but always warm and sincere, Shirley served her country nobly as goodwill ambassador to Ghana and Czechoslovakia, still charming everyone wherever she went. Through the magic of television, my children and grandchildren have also been enchanted by Shirley Temple, and they truly cherish all of her old films. What a wonderful blessing this is, because now she can never really leave us. She will always remain in our hearts, forever young, singing and dancing so sweetly, with sunshine and lollipops and those precious dimples and curls. Thank you, Shirley. We love you. Okay. Thank you.
Hi, my name is Angelina Garcia. Please welcome my grandma, Connie De Laurentiis.
My memoir today is called Easter. Easter is always a special holiday for me. It is the holiest day in the Catholic Church because, according to Catholic scripture, it is the day Jesus rose from the dead. My family believe that Easter season is a time for renewal. Therefore, as far back as my early years, I can remember my mother and godmother Connie always treating Easter according to their tradition. I don't know how their tradition began. All I know is they passed it on to me. I kept it going for a long time, but at this point in my life, age 73, I wrote this 2 years ago, I don't do much shopping or cooking anymore. In fact, this year, 2014, I wasn't even home to celebrate Easter with my children. I decided to go to Florida with my friend Blanche to visit our best friend Jeanette, who moved to Florida. We spent Easter and Palm Sunday with Jeanette and her family. I am happy to say that my children have taken up the tradition. The Easter tradition began when my mother took me shopping for new clothes to wear to church on Easter Sunday. The new clothes consisted of a new dress, hat, gloves, socks, and shoes, as well as a new pocketbook. The shoes and pocketbook were always patent leather. I continued the tradition of buying new clothes for Easter for my 2 daughters and my son. I picked out their new Easter clothes as long as I could get away with it. In their teen years, they wanted to pick out their own clothes. I think I made the same decision in my teen years. Back in the day, I think all families had the same tradition of buying new clothes for Easter Sunday, because at Easter Sunday Mass, everyone was dressed to the finest. Women and girls wore hats and gloves, and men and boys wore suits or sports jackets and pants. Too bad this dress tradition doesn't exist today. My feeling is it is a sign of disrespect to see how people dress and come to church. The food tradition that existed for Easter dinner was leg of lamb. We usually had antipasto and lasagna before the lamb. There was always stuffed artichokes. I love leg of lamb, but unfortunately my children never cared for lamb. Therefore, I changed to either ham or pork loin. Of course, there are still always is salad and stuffed artichokes. When it came time for dessert, my godmother made pizza dolce, which is Italian sweet pie made of ricotta cheese, large eggs, powdered sugar, grated lemon, and grated orange zest, and sometimes almond liqueur. I used to make the pizza dolce, but no one ate it but me, so I stopped making it. Connie also made pizza di grano, grain pie. This pie takes a lot of preparation, and I never made it. My favorite Easter pie is pizza rustica. Connie always made it delicious, and so do I. This year, I did not make the pizza rustica, but my daughter Margaret called me and asked me for the recipe and made it for Easter. I am happy she is keeping up some of the tradition. When I was old enough to drive, I took Connie to Arthur Avenue to buy all the ingredients for Easter dinner and baking. There were a couple of foods that Connie made that my mother and I liked, and she would make them for Easter, but I never thought of serving these to my children or my husband. They are sanguinaccio, blood pudding, and capezzoli, Italian lamb's head. When my mother and Connie passed away, I never thought of cooking either one of these foods and would give anything for the past Easters spent with both Mom and Connie. They are fond memories. Oh, yes.
Well, this is the end of our readings, and you can understand why we love to come to class. All right? What's wonderful about our class is that it is non-critical. It isn't an English writing class. It's an enjoyable class where we share each other's lives. And I cannot urge you to do the following. One day you will leave your children your will, and you will also, hopefully, leave them your story and the story of the people who came before. I lived and regret that I never said to my grandfather, "What did your parents do?" I just never thought to ask it. So don't be like me, be smart, all right? And if you know somebody who you think would enjoy our class, we meet the first Thursday of every month at 1 o'clock. And now we shall adjourn to some eats.
I just want
yes.
to take one moment
Okay.
to thank you so much.
Oh, you're more than welcome.
And the class would like to recognize all that you've done for them.
Oh, absolutely. Oh, how beautiful. Oh, how beautiful. Oh, a sign of spring. And I love tulips. I really do.
This is to Edie, our sweet teacher, whom we love, and we really enjoy going to the meetings, and every month once for 5 years now, or 6.
I say it's the greatest therapy course in the world.
It's better than a theater or a movie because you hear incredible stories, and
Right.
we love her,
Beautiful.
and we thank you, because if we wouldn't have to write the story by Thursday, 1 o'clock, maybe some of them wouldn't be with them.
That's
We
true.
don't know, probably, but she gives
That-
us the impetus to go on and write.
That's true. It's the discipline of knowing you have to have something completed.
Thank you, Edie.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. You're a loving group, and I love you. You're my dear friends.
And so please help yourselves over here. We have some refreshments. So please help yourselves, and thank you so much.
Oh, you're
Oh, God, that is right.